Is there anyone who has not seen the famous horror movie Saw? But who of you knows the true story of the movie? The story of the famous movie Saw was inspired by the story of the American criminal who bears the name David Parker Ray. David was nicknamed the Toy Box Killer in relation to the soundproof torture chamber, in which the most severe forms of torture were carried out. He enjoyed torturing women, using tools of torture, such as saws, leather whips, blades, knives, iron chains, and a medical bed full of blood, in addition to tapes recorded with the voices of those who were previously tortured to death, to force women to hear them before he began torturing and raping them. But the question is, what happened with David in his childhood? What is the thing that caused this psychological complex? And here we will return to David's harsh childhood. David Ray was born in November 1939. David grew up with his grandfather and rarely visited his violent addict mother. When Ray was a teenager, he was physically abused by his father, who also supplied him with sadistic pornographic magazines. Perhaps she is responsible for the worldly sexual fantasies that David grew up with and that he spent his entire life practicing. And because of his father's torture in his childhood, he had a psychological complex, and the girls' ridicule increased for him. So then he planned revenge from the girls. And he added to that he was sexually assaulted by a man when he was young, which led to the transformation of this knot into a bigger one, and his transformation into a toy box thug. But nothing lasts forever. Fortunately, one of David's victims managed to escape from the toy box, or the room she called the Room of Hell. This girl's name is Cynthia Vigil. And Cynthia recounted how David lured her by force, as he was disguised as a security man until she lost consciousness, until she woke up and found herself chained to a bed. After 3 days of torture, Ray left for work, leaving Cynthia with his girlfriend, Cindy, who was his partner, and a young man named Dennis Roy. Cynthia, despite the torture she was subjected to, was able to fight off Cindy after opening the chains on her hands. Then she exited the trailer with nothing, except for the iron dog collar on her neck. She was reported to the police and immediately arrested. The number of David's victims reached 60, and he was sentenced to 224 years in prison. But he died 8 months after the decision was issued. He died of a heart attack on May 28, 2002. Cindy was sentenced to 36 years in prison, while Dennis Yancey was sentenced to 15 consecutive years in prison. Follow us for more stories and thank you for watching.